Seeing the touching fullness of the same conversation that it leave with us from that time until this time have accomplished. Turn your heart unto the Most High. No great problem to solve. One depart from evil and do good. That is the key of life that will prevent every man from falling into the hands of evildoers or into the hands of adversaries. Whether in St. Vincent or any part of the world that I and I as Rasta is today, no matter how small he may be, and no matter how powerful one individual may look, he carries the same moral fountain of life, do good and live. Each and every man in the world today love good, but is to know what is good. People choice, and they choose a lot of things in creation that they claim that is good. But I and I seen not everything that glisteneth like a light is a light. Some will dazzle your eyes and put you down into a pit. Such as colonial life of living, from since we have fallen in the hands of the Gentile, these are what have done unto us. Light have shown unto us, like light, and yet is darkness. We stumble and fall through the Baalism of Babylon. So Israel, which is black people, today must realize and understand that the uplifting and the knowledge of the ancient culture and religion of Israel and the original tradition, it is before each and every one, and daily you go around about them, but without understanding. When you get the understanding now, we have many ways to obey the word and live. But chief about it is to obey the commandment of Jah and live. And each and every one get an understanding going to school from youthful days what the commandment is like now too.
Yes, I was going to ask that question.
I was going to ask you that question. How are these beliefs and practices taught to young Rastafarians so that they can understand and grow up in the right way?
One that give you heart and to wisdom. Furthermore, first stage of the step. One looking upon the Rastafari brethren ways, it brings attraction to some art, and it is an article foundation. It is that you cannot force the ways of righteousness in one. You cannot force one to accept it. One accepts it by a free thought, the internal birth. And when such began to move up, it doesn't bring no pressure that you have to pressure one to gain that knowledge. You just freely receive that.
Yes, but yes, I understand that. I mean, but assuming that he has already met the Rasta faith, that he agrees that this is what he wants to be part of, and then that he wants to grow up in the faith, is there a system of teaching, by the Rasta? Are there Rastafari schools or groups? Or how does the young Rastafari learn after he becomes a member? How does he learn the wisdom of the Rastafari faith?
I would say as soon as he realizes that which is to be within himself, which he's going to choice now.
Could we go on to another point then? This is particularly about the Vincentian scene, and perhaps it would need a Vincentian to say something about it. But I'm sure the problem is perhaps also a problem that might have begun in other areas. In St. Vincent, at some points, many points, many people seem to have the wrong image of the Rasta, a kind of poor image of the Rasta in St. Vincent. Usually, they're either going to say Rasta is a lazy man, or Rasta is a parasite because Rasta, go and reap crops where him don't plant crops and borrow property without asking permission because him say all belong to Jah and so on. Why is it, despite what you have said about the righteousness and the uprightness of the faith, why is it that there are some Rastas who appear, or people who appear to be Rastas, who are practicing this kind of behavior? Is this, in fact, something that you would get in the true Rastafari culture, or is it a false approach? And are these people therefore imposters and vagabonds?
Such case, and Father give us a commandment that I and I should abide by these. And if the young one step towards the culture of our faith and seeing that the way that the elder one walk and doesn't show him